And now that we finally have the TMD, it's time to get out of this destroyed vault. The problem is that we have quite a bit of rubble in our way, but if you notice the HUD in the center there, that shows that we can actually revert or possibly age, depending on the state of the item, certain things in the environment. In this case, since all these pillars were pretty much coated with E99, they can be either destroyed or reverted back to their original state as to whatever we find it necessary. You may also notice that the vault door is not something we can actually affect, but we can affect this electrical panel over here, allowing us to exit out of the vault. Now we also have another default ability for the TMD right now, which is the Impulse. We'll be seeing that whenever we actually get into some combat later. For right now though, we have quite a bit of things to interact with in this laboratory. You may notice that this message right here becomes affected much like this canister and box. That's because they're all coated with E99. We'll be using those for different puzzles later on. And down over this way, we have, you may notice these rather large plants here glowing. Since they're also covered with E99, we can also affect them, allowing us access to that panel and having us solve a little bit of a puzzle, getting us some much needed E99 tech. So over here we actually have the prototype for the TMD. Snow's just Barasov saying he needs something more compact. And that right there is destroyed, obviously. Let's revert that back. But yeah, this is a prototype drawing for the TMD, which he felt needed an abbreviation for some reason, not sure why. This entire laboratory area is actually pretty much a tutorial on solving different puzzles requiring the E99 imbued boxes. There's a few around, and by manipulating them we can get to little hidden caches, including another new item, the E99 vials. As you can see, underneath the life bar in the upper left hand corner, there was another bar that appeared below our life. That is a bar registering how much E99 power our TMD currently has. When it runs out, it gets either refilled over time very slowly, or we can use E99 vials to actually refill it. And as you saw before, these canisters can be crushed, allowing for a change in weight, and by reverting it back, it then pushes us back up. Complex and simple systems at work. But that's actually all we need to do in here, so let's go ahead and head back up to the surface.
Renko, I've got you on the GPS. For all our sakes, I hope you got the TMD. You must use it to go back to 1955 and stop Demichev from killing Barasov. He is the only one who knows how to restore history to the way it's supposed to be.
But the TMD is the main gimmick of the game, and thus will be used in quite a few puzzles for the duration of the game, and it kind of has limited uses, I suppose. But for whatever puzzle solving capabilities it has, It actually has much more in terms of offensive and defensive capabilities, which we'll be seeing as soon as we actually get this elevator working.
You should be coming upon a rip in time. They formed when the Singularity exploded, and the island is dotted with them.
And you may remember that we noticed a portal or something over here before. Well, that's the time rifts she was referring to, and this pop-up is referring to. It's pretty easy to use. You just shoot it with your aging beam from the TMD, and it'll open up. Before we do that, though, there is just a little bit more E99 here. You actually want to make sure and pick that up, as it won't be where we are going through the portal. But let's go ahead and check out the other side.
Laboratory is under security lockdown. All personnel must evacuate immediately.
Well, this is certainly different, but we did get another new TMD power called the Chrono Ping. It allows us to see footsteps. Not overly helpful since the game is pretty linear, but you can at least get a little bit of use out of it.
This facility has been placed under Special Directive 6C. Vacate the premises now.
Be quiet! Step in the nose! They will not be silenced! If you want to stay alive, you will do as you are told.
This laboratory is under security
He's
lockdown.
wasting his time
All
if he thinks
personnel
looks like
must
you can come up
evacuate
with
immediately.
Well, it seems we come just in time for when Demichev was coming to get the TMD technology from Barisov, by force, obviously. Thankfully, we're a little bit more better equipped than the random scientists around. But yeah, that's a little show of our TMD abilities. First gentleman got dismembered by our impulse. The other gentleman got aged, like what we would do to a crate or a box, but as Barisov said before, it has some rather adverse effects when used against a human entity, or living being. But this gentleman right here, as you can tell, has a riot shield. Protects him from quite a bit of damage, but get him in the foot, and he goes down just like any other man. But these particular soldiers are pretty much the Spetsnaz that we saw before. They're only that big of a deal if you get yourself surrounded, which I dumbly did. Thankfully, I'm still a little bit better equipped than they are.
All personnel must evacuate immediately.
But since this is the research lab, it shows off some of the plans they had for E99 being imbued into metal, and this is showing apparently that Barisov was a bit fine with some casualties when it came to the experiments. And And speaking of experiments, there's actually a few E99 experiments that we can mess around with while some heated gun battles go on off screen.
This laboratory is under security lockdown. All personnel must evacuate. Found in this area will be dealt with severely.
Apparently could never run that particular test more than once.
This facility has been placed under Special Directive 6C. Vacate the premises now.
Yeah, a rather interesting little Easter egg, I'd say, on this periodic table is the fact that it actually has E99 on it. It's a nice little touch.
No, I won't let you. I don't recall asking your permission.
Just think about it. Premier Beresov. It has a nice ring.
That's not what we created the Singularity for.
I tried to be nice. I tried to include you. But make no mistake, I will kill you if you don't tell me where the TMD is.
You wouldn't.
Do I look like I am bluffing, Victor? Very well. You give me no choice, my friend.
As you can tell, we don't really have a choice at this point as to whether or not to save Beresov. It's pretty much a requirement, so let's go ahead and do that.
Just think about it. Premier Beresov.
The TMD? How? You saved my life. You're wearing the TMD and an American uniform. Something must have gone terribly wrong. Follow me. I need my notes.
But yeah, we still do need to protect Beresov at this point, because he's still under danger from any of these Russian soldiers. Now, as a pet, I'm not really certain how he actually really identified us as a U.S. soldier. So I don't think we're covered in, you know, the American flag or anything like that, but let's just go on along with it and try to protect him.
There are two guards. Can you dispose of them?
That's just going to show the inaccuracy that a full barrage of the assault rifle can have at range.
I knew Demechev would be angry when we refused to work on the Singularity, but I never imagined he would resort to this. Let me get my notes. Damn it! It won't open! The TMD manipulates the aging process of objects, making them, for lack of a better word, older or younger. Even the safe can decay over enough time. We're running out of time. Please, age the safe with the TMD.
Just as you say.
Here, take this. It is a prototype E99 weapon. It can be unstable, but should help tip the odds in our favor.
And this is a very special weapon. We actually won't be able to keep this, but you'll see why we aren't able to keep this. It's actually a very special gun. This gun is called the Seeker, and it's called that for a very obvious reason. As the bullet is in flight, you can actually guide where it goes, and it has a slowdown effect, much like the other sniper rifle. Another additional effect that it has is the fact that it will explode, taking out multiple enemies if they're grouped close enough together, and usually guaranteeing that pretty much anything hit by it will get gibbed into a bloody mess. Oh, you don't need to be afraid, buddy. I see ya. Now, one of the main drawbacks of the weapon is the fact that it cannot actually be carried with any other weapons, so if you try to pull out a shotgun or the assault rifle, you'll just drop this on the ground. And this is one of the few weapons that actually will not show up in the weapon locker in the future. I think Raven just smartly realized that this particular weapon might be a bit too overpowered to have too frequently throughout the game, even though I personally find it quite fun. But with that ambush done, oh, no wait, I think I still hear somebody. Or at least I heard somebody. We are now free to get a few little E99 caches around the room and get a nice look at what this place used to look like before it went to shit. And before we head forward, there's another little cache waiting for us over here to the side. Not too much we can actually use in there, especially since we're pretty much full on ammo. And hey, Russian signs that are fully in Russian, that's pretty new. But we don't want to drop that just yet. We still have some friends waiting. And I do apologize for not showing it off, but that yellow canister right there will actually explode and catch gentlemen on fire. I'll be showing that off probably at a later point in the game. But it's quite impressive to see a guy stop, drop, and roll as he gets covered in fiery dip. For right now though, I think, well, excuse my poor aiming. But for right now, we have a better alternative than flames. Now it still sounds like somebody is nearby, but we're not getting attacks, so I guess it's fine. We can continue to look around, see what we can find. That certainly floated, I guess. But I think we have another film we can watch. Yeah.
demonstrates the practical applications of my breakthroughs in controlling E99 temporal distortions. The deadlock is a device that upon activation freezes all time within a radius. The effect has a limited duration, and it can be disabled with the use of gravimetric energy. It can be reactivated simply by deploying it again. The time distortion field also makes a very useful shield. I am certain that within a year my research will provide us with weapons that far surpass anything the West has. Then we can begin our conquest to communist victory. For the Soviet Union!
Well, that deadlock thing did seem pretty nice. I don't know, hearing the guy we're supposed to be saving say that he wishes for communism to take over the West, I'm not really certain that's a guy we want to be rooting for, is it? Well, I'm sure he's a good guy. But now that we've taken care of all the Russian forces in here, it's time to gather up a few more items, such as this little hidden weapon tech. And there is... well, I'm not actually sure what this is supposed to be. Maybe one of our science geeks can specify, but we do have another experiment waiting for us. And this is the deadlock. It doesn't really seem like it'd be very easy to carry around though, but I don't know, maybe we'll get it in the future, who's to say. But there are just a few more items waiting for us, getting myself healed up to full, and go meet up with Borisov to continue on through this apparently large firefight. I hear it, but I don't really see it anywhere.
Just a little further.
Now, before we follow him upstairs, there is a little hidden cache down here at the bottom of the stairs. Not too much, but another E99 vial is always appreciated. Especially since they get automatically used, and if you don't know how much an impulse costs or an aging costs, then, well, you just kind of plow through them.
This is where our paths must part. Do not worry about me. I will find safety in that tower. And rest assured, we will meet again. Use the TMD to activate that rift. It will take you back to your time. Good luck to us both.
Borisov really didn't seem too keen on eye contact for some reason, but... well, I guess we're pretty much done in the 50s for right now. And one last look before we head back into the dingy future. But let's get going.
Captain Renko, I almost don't believe it. I have waited over 50 years to see you again, but to you it's been mere seconds, hasn't it? Remember the tower I told you I was going to? I've returned there. It seemed the most sensible place. Come quickly, we have much to discuss. And keep your eyes open. I sent a mutual friend to meet you.
So we're back in the future now. Can only assume that, I mean, we killed Demichev, so why does everything still look like shit? I don't know, Borisov is bound to have some answers for us in his smoking tower, but hey, we got a movie. Let's watch that movie.
the first recorded test of a human being moving into a rift. I am going to record my observations as I move through. I expect I will exit at Rift 6, which seems connected to this one, and has appeared near the docks. I am walking in now. A slight tingling feeling, even through the suit. I am not perceiving anything visual out of the ordinary. And as you see, no noticeable... Turn it off!
Well, you know, every experiment has a rocky start, and well, I'm just glad they worked out the kinks before we made our way through the portal. But a rather odd note right here, just asking if someone would check on whether or not this Bunsen burner would work, and well, it works. Not really certain if that's supposed to have some other meaning. Maybe somebody can elucidate on that. But we have another new item here next to this E99 tech. It's a bioformula. Since we weren't able to save Borisov in the past, and he was able to continue perfecting his technology over the last 50 years, he left behind some plans for us, such as hardiness, which, if we go to an augmenter, whatever that might be, we'll be able to increase our maximum health. And, wouldn't you know it, right nearby here is an augmenter. And we are now able to spend our hard-earned E99 tech on different upgrades. Now there are 3 different categories. The first one, TMD equipment, will actually be put into specific slots in our TMD. Right now we only have 1 slot, but that will be increasing over time. The TMD perk will obviously increase our TMD powers overall. And since we only really have impulse, that's all we can really upgrade. And hero perks are going to be our, well, our passive abilities, such as increasing our maximum health, or if we want to, we can actually purchase more weapon tech. For right now, though, I'm going to hold off on purchasing anything in case anybody in the thread wants to give me some recommendations, in case you want me to just save it for right now, or go for any other particular upgrades. But with that, we are done for right now, and we'll see you next time.